I'm doing all right.
We all doing all right.
Your neighbor.
Hold on. I'm trying to find the
It's gonna kick in. It's gonna kick in.
Oh, look, they're gonna feed now.
Oh, it kicked in.
Okay,
For
let me share it. And let me make sure I get Christine on here. Lord have mercy. Christine, come on in, big sister. Come on in, big sister.
Red snap.
Tap in. Snap, snap. What you call my sister? My snap.
Oh, my bad. That's Hanky. I
That's
can't call
Sister
her.
Brown. That's Sister Brown.
A.T. Brown.
Sister Brown. Sister Christine.
It just took me back to Providence Street. That's what happened.
My sister ain't never stayed on no Providence. I don't even know where Providence Street is.
On the southern side of Flint.
On the southern side of Flint.
On the southern side of Flint.
Hold on, let me get my groups up. Everybody should be up this morning because I told them last night, wake up, get your coffee, because it's gonna be Hall versus Mays, and we got us a mediator this morning because Mays is not feeling me right now. So we gonna go ahead and clear that up. And Sister Audrey brought a special guest with her water filter, because she been fussing about this dang on filter all week long. Well, because she wants y'all to know how good the water really is. Question mark. It ain't no good. Okay, so we got enough people on here. They'll come popping on. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. That is we back in town again. Sister Audrey, good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning.
Sister,
good morning.
Sister, and I'm going to address this is also not just my lovely, beautiful sister, Audrey Muhammad. This is also Audrey Young, who's running for the Flint School Board 6-year term.
Yes.
For those, and I've told some people, because they've been calling me like, Wyntis, who you voting for the school board?
Yeah.
I said, well, I don't stay in Flint. But if I did, I would vote for Sister Audrey and Michael Clay.
Yes.
Hey, there go my big sister. Hey, big sister. Big sister, I had to wait till you got on here because this man down here on the end, he ain't feeling me today. And so that's why we got Sister Audrey sitting in the middle, because all praises to Allah, right?
Yes.
Right.
That's right.
And then the other guest down there is we got Councilman in the First Ward, Eric Mays.
Yes.
You gonna say good morning? You gonna say good morning?
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Mays. I'm glad to have you on here, Mr. Mays. And it's just another day's journey, and I'm glad about it. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get started right now. Mr. Mays, he just bursted my bubble. So we're gonna try to clear this bubble back up. And Mr. Mays just told me something that was very interesting. He said, I misguided the people. So this is what I said, and then I'm gonna get Mr. Mays to clear it up. Now, what I heard in the council meeting was Mr. Mays called that little lady up from Ashley Capital, and they gave Mr. Mays said, now watch them get their money with no problem. While we ain't getting no money over here, then he asked the ladies a series of questions, and out of those series of questions, I got that Ashley Capital wasn't from here. They don't own the land. They waiting for Racer Trust to clear up the land from the Environmental Justice Protection Agency and somebody else. And then they said once they clear it up, they're hoping that Racer sell them the property so they can build on it, but they don't have no tenants to build on it. So they hope once they start building, somebody was going to acquire the land, and the rest of our people got to apply for the grants and stuff of the rest of the ARPA money that's left. Now, Mr. Mays, where did I go wrong at? Tell me.
Well, the way I look at it, everybody look at, things differently. Some people say the glass is half empty, some say it's half full.
Yes,
so
sir.
You can have two people looking at the same thing and see it differently. The way I see it is the Buick City property, just like the property out on Dordt Highway with AC, those places where General Motors plants used to be.
Mhm.
You know, we want people to come in and develop those properties and create jobs. 3,000 jobs in the city of Flint for young people and old alike is a good project.
Mhm.
No different than the Lear project that located over in that area. And so when you sit in the seat that I'm sitting in,
Mhm.
you're going to prioritize public safety, police and fire. You
Right.
got to make that right for the community. Economic development, jobs. When you have an opportunity to get 3,000 jobs, you make it right. When you look at the ARPA money, 94 million, I don't mind putting 3 or 4 million trying to create 3,000 jobs. I heard Mr. Neely say on his radio show this morning he brought them here. He did not. Did nobody bring them here. They looked at some land, had an opportunity, and then they decided to try to purchase that land. $300 million they will invest, and I don't see a problem investing 3 to 4 million of our money to create jobs. What I called her up for, I had her make a commitment. They made it in writing that they would hire contractors from Flint. They would hire people from Flint. And so when I look out for Flint people in the area of economic development, job creations, I voted that it was a good project to be involved in. I still believe it's a good project to be involved in, and we will see if and when it comes to fruition. They will build a building on that property, whether it's Amazon or whoever they get to occupy that building. It's a good economic development project. If I didn't think so, I wouldn't have voted for it. As far as voting for that particular project, as far as voting for the demolition of housing, abandoned houses in the city of Flint, as well as the stack of applications that people have put in for residents. If I had to put 20 million into that, I'd have did it 5-6 months ago. So what I look at in this community when we discuss public safety, economic development, helping residents, when you got $94 million, you can do a little bit of all of it.
Okay.
And so I'm an advocate of doing a little bit of all of it. And I'm going to stick with my guns as far as how I'm doing it. And people should quit trying to take credit for stuff that they didn't do.
There you go.
I would be a fool to say, I brought Lear here.
There you
I
go.
ain't brought Lear here.
There you go.
I would be a fool to say, I brought the Buick City project to fruition.
Right.
Neely ain't brought it. 112 Davis ain't brought Lear. And why would people so foolishly say something like that? And if people believe it, shame on them.
Shame on them.
It would be if I decided to invest in a business, where I would locate at, what building I would get. This is a decision that multi-million-dollar companies make. Ain't nobody called them and said, I'm bringing you here. And you see politicians falling all over each other. They get credit of they done brought somebody here. They ain't brought nobody here. People making decisions, and then the mayor, the city council, certain partners in the city have to make decisions to make it come to fruition.
Yes, sir.
So I'm one of 9 who voted and made a decision that I think is worth it to invest $3 to $4 million into the Buick City property. It's been sitting there for years, and I think that it should be developed and worked out. Ashley Capital sold or is in the process of selling the property. Well, Racer Trust is in the process of selling the property to Ashley Capital. I heard Mr. Neely say on his show this morning
I don't know how you can listen to that.
He sold the property and we sold the property. We ain't sold that property. That's Racer Trust. I have to listen to what people say. I listen to what you say. I listen to what he say. I listen to what everybody say, because I'm a elected leader
Yes,
in
you
the
are.
city of Clinton. My job is to try to straighten stuff out and make it plain for residents, voters to understand. Because if we don't make it plain for voters to understand, then that's how we get our positions. Wyntis,
Yes, sir.
Sister Mohammed, I spoke about this earlier on Reverend Terrell Kell's show this past week. I'm gonna just kind of paraphrase it.
Okay.
But John Gleason was indicted, convicted,
Woo!
can't run for office no more
You
in this
told us
area.
that.
And
No, he
remember
was all
back
over the
3
place.
years ago when I
Yeah,
said
You
that
said it.
Gleason had used his office
You said it.
illegally to help
Absolutely.
Neely win,
said
and they
it.
won by
Yeah.
only 200 votes.
Yeah,
The last 2-3 weeks of the election,
yeah.
Gleason and Neely used Gleason's office
Yeah.
illegally,
Yeah.
on purpose, intentionally,
Yeah.
to lie and say that Weaver had passed out absentee
You know what
ballots.
I said? Ed Mays is lying. He didn't know what you was talking
And I
about.
wasn't lying.
You showed me how it wasn't.
I had passed a motion to subpoena Gleason
Yeah.
and Neely,
Mhm.
and certain council people, Kate Fields and Maurice Davidson, they blocked that.
Right.
You know, that's just like the garbage contract,
Mhm.
$9 million more. They blocked that. That's just like the dealing with the people who got burnt up in the fire, the children.
Yeah.
They blocked that
Yeah.
investigation.
Yeah.
The alleged police chase on Pearson Road during this
Alleged,
election.
right.
You got a lot of people blocking pertinent information, covering up stuff, hiding stuff from
Sure
the
do.
voters.
So
And then people want to walk around and say, I brought this project to
Tell
Buick
'em.
City.
tell them.
I did this. Can't no one person do it.
Nope.
Can't no one person do it. These decisions is joint decisions. You could name a street in honor of Clarissa Shields. We had to vote on that. It took 5 or more votes out of the council to make that law, and then you just present it to them.
I bet
Don't-
she would have threw that key back for a key to the ambulance last
That's what I
weekend.
use that analogy
You sure did.
when
I've
they
been running
said
with it.
that on Facebook, that would you rather have a key to the city or a key to ambulances and police cars? So it kind of gets under my skin, and it's frustrating when you got a whole lot of people misguided, telling half truths, in some cases outright lies
Right.
about their education and degrees. Why would a city continue to follow
There you go.
have truths and leadership like
That's
that?
it.
Now, this guy here, do you think it's worse to interfere with a city election or to marry somebody without a marriage license?
City election.
City
Yeah.
election.
A
Without a
city
doubt.
election. That was outrageous. When you think 3
He gonna
years
tell
back,
him, he gonna snitch.
he would not have won that election, in my political opinion, if him and Gleason hadn't illegally used Gleason's office, the chief election officer, using his office with a candidate 2-3 weeks before the election to say, and had a black lady sitting there like you sitting in between us,
Right.
saying somebody was passing out illegally absentee ballots.
That was his two big things. That right there, and then he had that attorney to file that lawsuit with all them cops. That was his two
Neely
things.
was dead wrong, and they should have prosecuted that. I tried my best to subpoena that, because when you interfere illegally and use that office, the chief election officer, Gleason was as crooked as they come. And him and Neely was both as crooked as they come, have been state representatives together, and then gonna do some mess like that. And it affected the outcome. Here we done had a 3-year term on some crookedness, and Gleason cannot run for office. He had to resign, can't run no
But
more.
they let him retire. He
Neely
shouldn't
should be asked to resign by the voters of the city of Flint. They should be asking him to resign, and he shouldn't be able to run no more. It's outrageous to interfere in front of everybody illegally with a major election, and then you still can participate. He should be punished, no different than Gleason. They both conspired illegally to overturn and mess with that election. And I knew then Gleason was as crooked as they come. And I knew then that Neely had teamed up with him to try to affect the outcome. And it was so close. You know that affected the outcome. When you win by 200 votes, that's 100 people.
Yeah.
If 100 people believe you and Gleason and it swayed one way or another, you take 100 from her and give 100 to him. That's the 200. It ain't actually 200. It's 100 people was affected with that crookedness. And so now he walking around, Gleason convicted his partner in crime to overturn and interfere with a major election. We don't need that. You know, they did it with me,
Right.
the president of the city council.
They sure did.
Him and
They did
attorney
with you
Ken.
with mayor.
Can I ask a question to
This
you
is
right now?
ridiculous.
Now, when that election did happen and it was up in question of should she recall, didn't this office want to charge her a lot more than they normally charge to do, not a recall, a recount? Didn't they want to charge her a lot more than they normally charge to recount the ballots?
Well, the recount, I don't know if the votes would change anything
Yeah.
because of the computer,
Right.
100 or 200 votes.
Right.
But what I do know and did know then and hollered it loud for those who would listen,
Right.
that it was illegal.
Yes.
It's a crime for somebody
Yes.
to use their office like Gleason did, the chief elected official, and give credibility to a candidate who's accusing another candidate of unlawfully passing out absentee ballots. Do you know absentee ballots are mailed out from the
Sure.
clerk?
That's why I was gonna say, how could she
Yeah,
recall it?
but when you
How-
don't
it
know,
can't- it should
But
from
it
the
didn't
state.
make sense.
That didn't make sense
I
to me.
Wyntis, now that you look back at it, what do you think?
I think I was just like my mama told me the other day, you was a damn fool. That's what my mama told me. My mama said it. She said you was a
You
damn
know,
fool.
I was tripping.
Shout out to you, mama.
She said it.
I was
She
tripping.
said
I'm looking at this stuff and I'm
She
saying,
said it.
why is all these people excited?
because they didn't know the
Believe in
process. Didn't know the process of how things went. I didn't even know. Like, and now that I got out there with it, it's only an application. It's sent to the clerk's
Let me
office.
say this. I have to listen to what people say. I listened to Mr. Dealey this morning. Guess what he said?
What?
I'd like to give a shout out to Quincy Murphy as it relates to the $300 water credit because he had it applied to people's bill. Now, Quincy Murphy
Somebody
ain't did
believe
that.
that. That's what's sad.
Because, yeah, look, me, Jerry Winfrey Carter, Tanya Burns, and we held that up because we wanted people not to get shut off. We wanted it to arrange it in a certain way. Now,
Right.
he didn't give Quincy Murphy that
Sure did.
credit. And I'm saying to myself, here we go again, misleading folks, fooling folks, and tripping folks up. I say, now, why would he be on a radio station giving that credit to one council person when we were all fighting, including Quincy Murphy, to make sure folks wouldn't get shut off? We tried to boost the water credit up from 300 to 600.
And you said it. You
And
said
yeah,
oh,
look.
and they said nope, nope.
That's what he told the people on the radio this morning,
What did he tell them?
that he the first one or the only one who gave a water credit. Now, you know how much that water credit cost us to get 8.6 million.
Yep.
I guarantee you, you go back and look under the Weave administration during the water crisis, it was $60 million in water credit put on people's bills.
Yes, I
60
agree.
million from the state. Yeah, it was $60 million worth of water credit more than the
Wait a
300.
minute.
Why
I
would
gotta
people
get this out.
believe these
Because
lies,
it's burning
man?
me.
So he was
Because while I see his passion
51.4
right now,
million
hold
short.
on, Sister Audrey.
You fine.
I'm glad we got that cleared up by the Ashley Capital. You say it's a good project, because you sitting there,
yeah.
you dealing with it. Okay, it's a good project. But you know what had me nervous?
If it comes to fruition, it's
If
a
it
good
comes to
project.
fruition.
You were right because the deal ain't been closed. And I said, if it don't close, do we get this $3-4 million
Yep, and then
back?
she said yes.
She said yes. It's in
Yes,
the
and
agreement.
then, but that let you started asking, you got to seeing beyond what she was saying.
Because then when she said yes, you was kind of like, well, how you know? Has it been paper drawn up yet?
I
Well, you
said, I'm
know.
going to give you a handshake type deal. You know, I said, I'm going to go back to old school. And even though it's still coming together, and ain't no one person brought that in, I'm going to do it in a handshake and a good faith deal.
I don't trust them down there, okay? And when you see Ridgeway, Quincy Murphy with his hands around Ridgeway and Sheldon, the lady from Ashley Capital, and BB Nolan standing there in the picture, Maze, that had me a little worried.
Well, don't worry, because look at my vote. If you see me vote and do a certain way, you know, I'm not going to be perfect, but I done checked it out. I done talked to some people. I believe that we need to create some jobs and use some of the money toward job creation. We need to use some of the money for public safety, police and fire. We need to use some of the money to get these tarps off people's houses, give people in individual household roofs, windows, vinyl side, and people are asking for it. It's a stack of request forms. So you always got to look out for the people first. Them big shots know how to get money.
They sure
if
do.
you listen close, if you gonna come in here and invest 300 million, that other 3-4 million we give ain't gonna make or break the project. I guarantee you. So, you know, sometimes you'll vote to show partnership. We did that over on Miller Road. You know, when I was president, I did that on Miller Road with 5 of them for 2.7 million on the Miller Road project. You can see the work there. It didn't work. So we said, give the North Flint Food Market 600,000.
How much does a popcorn maker cost?
I'm glad you said that. They went crazy. When it came down to a gentleman giving St. Agnes, or what they referred to it as, I referred to it as St. Agnes. They referred to it as House of Esther. They wouldn't move.
They didn't even want to give the power, the Dover boys, the lot next door to the lot that they own.
For the car lot. So I do stuff like that. I will give something to some of the white folks and others in their project to see what they gonna do for us. That's the same way with Ashley Capital. Give them 3-4 million and see if out of them 3,000 jobs, 1,500 of them will come to black folks and residents. So I try that give and take. But in some cases, it haven't worked. It haven't worked. And that's appalling that it haven't worked. And when you look at some of the people pulling the strings, I be feeling sorry for Quincy Murphy and Herkin Rhoda and Priestley and them, because Neely calls them down there, manipulates them, and then they come back upstairs.
Because they got to go to the mayor's office.
I'm tripping. I'm saying we are a co-equal branch of government. Think for yourself. Do what's right for the people. Don't be fooled. But I done seen this movie before. I've seen it with Kate Fields. I've seen it with Maurice Davis. I've seen it with
Jackie Poplar.
And folks are gone.
Yes, they are.
So it's just a matter of time. When November hits, there's gonna be some recalls in this on this city council.
And because they're telling you the water good, Miss Sister Audrey.
Remember this before we get to that.
That's why they look.
Wait. Let's see what he got to say while you holding that up.
It was some people who had literature mailed out on their behalf in the council race. Quincy Murphy, Herkin Rhoda, Liddell Lewis, all the literature looked the same. When we tracked it, it came from a printing company down in Detroit where Neely did his literature. So in other words, when people were struggling, campaigning, trying to raise money, all of a sudden some illegal literature was sent out on behalf of Quincy Murphy. They wouldn't be there. Monica Galloway would have beat Herkin Rhoda. When you win and lose a council election by 65, 75 votes, and you got somebody mailing out illegally on your behalf $5,000 worth of literature, Sister Audrey, you might have won if it wasn't for that illegal literature. So we've had 2 interferences major elections. We had illegal literature mailed out on behalf of council people that we tracked immediately. And then we had Gleason and Neely holding illegal press conference. So you've got a sitting mayor who has a track record of illegally participating in 2 elections that has changed the complexity of this city. He needs to be punished. He needs to be asked to be resigned and should be prosecuted. I'm sorry.
No,
I think they said that union bug. That union bug that was on there was questionable too. I think on that literature too.
The average people don't even know this thing went on.
Yep. Nope, they don't.
That's why we
They
hear
don't.
every week.
Well, you didn't know you was
No.
involved in that type of corruption, did you?
No, and that's why. And
I was tripping.
I know you.
Tanya Burns,
Yep.
Wyntis, Artwoods, and them. I'm saying now this group over here, do some of them know? If y'all was that close to Neely and didn't know it, can you imagine the average people in the community don't know?
Yeah.
They didn't know illegal literature had been sent out.
No, they still don't believe.
Oh,
They know,
people,
but they don't believe it. They believe what
They think I'm mad about something.
Yeah, it's
I ain't
personal.
mad.
Maze
I'm
on a job down there. Wyntis on a
ain't
job
tripping.
down there.
I definitely
I
don't
ain't
want no
tripping.
job down there.
But he telling folks the water's good.
This is a filter that came out of my house when
What
it was.
color is it supposed to be?
It's supposed to be white.
This is white right here, y'all.
That filter was white when it was put in my system, and that's the color that it came out. But when it was wet, it looked a lot worse than that. I let it dry out and everything, but it's brown.
But
It's
that's
the
what
color of my skin
filter's
almost.
supposed to take all that mess out the water.
It
It's
ain't
supposed to
supposed to be
turn
nothing
from
in
white
there,
to
though, is
brown,
it?
don't
The
Yeah, but not like that.
The water's supposed
Not like
to be.
that. It's not clean. The water
So you
is still
said
not
that people
clean.
ain't got a filter. I'm on the inside of me, I'm brown.
And once that filter got that dirty, my skin broke back out in rashes, my grandchildren and stuff, my daughter, we all trying to figure out why our hair started getting back brittle again. We had to change the filter in order to be able to feel the difference in the water. That's a whole house filtration system that is pulling the water out directly
Well, Sister Audrey,
from the pipe.
Sister Audrey,
Yes, sir.
why don't you just calm down and I'm gonna tell you why you need to calm down.
Yes, sir.
Because Neely, Gretchen Whitmer,
Yes.
and 5 council people
Yes.
settled the lawsuit.
Yes.
You gonna get $600-700.
Yes.
$600-700.
Hey, just so you know,
2020.
just so you know, less than a year, I have to change those filters every year. Less than
How
12
much
months.
it cost?
It cost me at least $150 to change those
Well, you
filters.
gonna
Are
get
you serious?
$150. It's 2 filters in there. This is the one you can see. The filtration system itself, thank God I was gifted it, but it costs about $400-500.
It's $1,000 cap on the settlement for grown folks. Now, you gonna get your $1,000 after attorney fees, $600-700. What is you upset about? You didn't want the $1,000 cap.
Because we've been in this for 6 years, so every year I done spent $150. Let's do the math.
Let me tell you, I said,
Man, they shouldn't have settled
I
that.
was sitting, I was standing. This Neely's desk in his office. He right
You
here.
was in
And
there.
I'm standing at his desk and I'm asking him about the settlement. And I'm like, Sheldon, this ain't sitting
Why did he
right.
agree to that settlement?
Because
It's the
Wyntis,
flow.
what you don't understand is that it's the floor, not the ceiling. See, you listening to the wrong people, and the federal government, they're gonna come in once we get this going, and they're gonna put in millions. We'll be at $1 billion before it's over. That's what
What
he
year
told
you
me.
think?
Huh?
What year you think we gonna be at that?
I'd be dead and gone by
Well, my thing is this. We had worked hard to declare an emergency, bring lawyers in, and get this thing to a certain point. Neely was somewhere in Lansing. He said politically he preferred Lansing over Flint. It reminded him of a Hollywood politician. Now that's what he said. And so he wasn't involved in the settlement. For him to come in, and Gretchen Whitmer was nowhere in sight, for them to come in and agree to settle this after all that hard work wrongfully, believing and hoping that we would get to another settlement and telling people this. Don't believe it, because That's just like he's saying all the houses in the city of Flint will be torn
That's
down
what I'm
by
looking for. That's what
2024.
I'm looking for.
I guarantee you, all the houses in Flint won't be towed down because it'll be new ones. Now, even if it ain't new ones, people will tell you what they gonna do in the future in order to try to get a vote. Look at what you did over the past 3 years.
Right.
You've handed out probably 12 keys to the city. You put a statue up on City Hall. This is all ceremonial.
Yes, it
But
is.
what we had to do, we had to get emergency managers out of here.
Yep.
We had to correct budgets. $24 million surplus when he came in. Guess what we facing now?
What's
A $15 million deficit. When the emergency managers came in, we had a $12 million deficit. Right now, we're facing a $15 million budget deficit. We've got to stop and amend the budget and fix that. Very serious business. When you say crime is down, last year we broke records for highest crime.
Right.
We shouldn't break another record. It shouldn't go up. It should go down. So people got to put this in perspective. All this little double talking, slippery and half truth and lies. If you broke records last year, you should want to go down this year. But that don't mean crime is all the way down.
Because
If this guy could, if his nose would grow
Yes.
for every time, well, I say the Pinocchio nose. If your nose grew for half truths and lies, people could see it.
Yes.
But if your nose don't grow, then people don't know. And you see how that rhymes?
Yeah.
If your nose don't grow, people don't know.
That's my new post for today. Listen, we get these emails from people all around it, and they saying that, which I'm looking at it, it's money and blight. People making money off of Flint with the blight. Now they said that now I'm asking you because I don't know.
Money off of blight.
They said it's $40 million is not going to tear down even 1/3 of the blight in Flint. More campaign lies trying to bamboozle people. They said it's over 150 million worth of blight in Flint right now.
That's correct. Last we checked,
that's correct.
Abandoned, tore up houses. It would have taken over 100 million to clear them all out. And so we put 16 million to team up with the land bank. That's half. And so anybody telling somebody that all the houses will be down for that 45 million and what a fantastic job, they lying. It would have to be over 100 million in demolition to tear down. Now, why would somebody say that? To get re-elected?
That's what they said.
Because you ain't gonna see that.
Campaign lies.
You ain't gonna see that. Half truths and lies. If your nose don't grow, people don't know.
Right.
You can jump in anytime you want to. You know.
I was just trying to pull up this report that I had received from my water sample that they had done back in September, and it's got it. I'm gonna end up sending this to you so you can see some of the stuff that was still in there. But it's a lot of us don't know a lot of the different things.
September.
I had it checked by the
like
water.
Last month. September?
Yeah, I think it was in September they came out to my house and
That's
just tested my water. But it wasn't tested it was tested, this is a National Clean Water Collective. Sample was accepted on September the 7th, and they sent it to me. I was in the 57th percentile of 100 that was checked.
Yeah, that's what kills me about social media. People don't be knowing.
They don't know that this is horrible.
Information out there.
That's
just like the pipe replacement. This morning again, see, I listened to what he said. On his show, he says 95% of the pipes have been replaced. When he took office, it was 90% and we was on track. He set W.T. Stevenson down. talked about him like a dog.
Mhm.
Guess who back doing fights?
W.T. Stevens.
Oh,
And if they was that bad, why are they there?
No, he talked about it today on the show.
He
When
talked about
he
WT
said he didn't
Stevens.
say it in name, but he said it was people that do the job right.
Man, look.
But they back out there now, and
Man,
he's talking
people, he
about
said
the
it
folks that
wasn't
he
right.
want them to do the job.
And you know what? You
Ben
remember I talked.
Harbor did a whole city
They done.
in about a year.
Yep.
This man been in office 3 years, couldn't complete 10% of what was left when he took office. It was
And
about
claimed
90%.
she wasn't doing her job.
And so just the way people talk and mislead people, if you don't know and his nose don't grow, you'll never know. I felt bad to see him do W.T. Stevenson like that, a local black-owned company. I felt like people should know that he done circled back and then got the people who he talked about like a dog and set them down. Now, I wonder, I'm just an ignorant type of guy. I wonder if I'd have told him if I was W.T. Stevenson to kiss my butt.
I would have, because you ain't paying.
Because you didn't talk to me like a dog.
$1 million.
I'd have said, you continue to be behind and don't get it done. I'm voting Weaver. You done lied. You done fooled people. I don't want nothing to do with you. But W.T. Stevenson took the high road.
Mhm.
Jeff Greer and Rhonda and them did what's best for the city. They came on board, and right now they trying to finish up that percentage. But it's wintertime now.
But Mr. Mays, if they dump wherever Premier Street is or whatever,
Mhm.
where did the other companies dump at?
One of them was dumping right there. It was not dumping. It was not dumping. It was temporarily sitting some dirt there in an emergency
Right.
that had been authorized by the people running the city. We were running the city.
So when he told
We
me
know.
he had no idea they were dumping in the middle of a residential
And they
neighborhood.
lied about that
That
because
was
me and
some
Rich Jones went down there and took pictures of the site that they claimed was messed up, and it wasn't messed up. And then they claimed, Santino claimed that the people and the residents in that community was complaining about it. It may be a fruit, but it wasn't
We
what
were
we talked
setting
to.
dirt temporarily in the middle of the streets. They were setting it on some property they own.
Yep.
And it was authorized.
At
Yeah,
the
it was
at the end
authorized
of the
to
street.
set dirt there as we was doing pipes in an emergency
Mhm.
ahead of schedule. When he came on board making those false allegations, lying on W.T. Stevens, he was mad because they had supported Weaver's campaign. See, anybody who supported Weaver's campaign, he would mess with.
He sure would.
Yes.
It wouldn't matter if it was
He
me.
got a filer over there to the right of his office. Anything that come through and anybody that mess with Weaver, they go over there on that filer. He just sit the paperwork over there, don't even touch it.
Yeah, his whole thing was he was term limited out. He couldn't run for state representative no more. He was so used to getting government checks that his whole thing was self-centered. It wasn't about what was best for the city. It was what's about best for me and my family and my pocketbook. I hate to see a self-centered candidate. You should be honest, have character, and tell the truth about what's going on in your city. You shouldn't mislead people for personal gain. Had he not been term limited out, he wouldn't have run. Had he not been term limited out, he wouldn't have did that illegal stuff with Gleason in Gleason's office and won by a mere 200 votes. Now that time has passed, you've learned more, other people have learned more, we've learned more. I mean, he had me fooled. I thought he did have a degree.
Oh, shit, I was looking at me like he had names, fool.
Yeah, people can fool you because when you go to church with them for over 30 years and you believe that most people are honest, I didn't know that this guy was so scurvy. The Murdoch thing taught me something. You look at Nancy Pelosi's husband.
Right.
He got hit with hammers and she flew from Washington because people come at politicians. When I got beat up by his deputy chief of staff and the state
The
police,
old one.
Yeah, and the state police said arrest him, and Neely and Layden them quashed that. It's still laying on the desk. It kind of gets under my skin when I see all these white politicians, including the governor there, when they get threats, not get beat up. I was sent to Hurley Hospital. Black politicians' lives matter.
Yes.
We matter.
Yes.
In the city of Flint, physical violence toward me and anybody else matters. And so it kind of gets under my skin when Mr. Neely issued the press release lying on me about that. The state police called me. Why we can't get them to prosecute? Attorney Kim them could have charged him with misdemeanors, laden them with felonies, but black lives sometimes don't matter.
No.
I was so let down at the public, the NAACP, Black Lives Matter. Somebody should have made some noise other than me. And then he kept telling people kept telling people I was mad about something. Yo, I was mad.
Right.
I got a
exactly.
hump on my back now, slammed on the cement floor, beat up, and didn't nobody do nothing. And then you got people talking about I've been threatened, a threat been made. When you sit in these seats and people misguide people, misapply the law, cheat, and act scurvy, it gets under your skin. But guess what? I ain't no ways tired. I'm gonna keep moving. I'm gonna keep talking, and I'm gonna be who I want to be. And don't ever bother me.
I got a couple things for him, and then I'm gonna jump to you, and I'm gonna let
Oh,
y'all.
you fine.
Y'all take. Listen, when you talk about how the disparate in treatment, how they treat you down there in city council, it's so obvious now. You got a Stevie Wonder can see it. They mess with you. They want you to stay in your seat. Then when they want you gone. You get up and you walk around. Sometimes you go sit in the audience just so they can just leave you
I
alone.
take myself out the equation
Right.
because if I sit in my seat, I'm gonna say point of information, point of order. No different from what they do. But if you notice, particularly Hurricane Road, you got your first warning. That's an illegal point of information, illegal point of order.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
You should see what they say and do.
They don't even know what it is.
So
that's what I'm getting to, because
it's a discrimination.
the Dale and Quincy sit there and pick with you the whole damn meeting. How come you can't get up and play musical chairs like Eva did the other day?
I've never seen in 30 years a council person be able to change seats.
Because they're scared. Ain't that some shit?
Playing the
I'm sorry. I
She
won't go cuss like you on here today.
She shouldn't be there if she's scared.
That's a game.
That's a game.
That's a game.
Man, I was so mad when I seen
than
that.
the man in the moon.
Now when she talking about black people on the north side like she did.
That's a
Right,
game.
she wasn't scared when
I
she
would
said
make her
yes,
sit in her own
She
seat.
wasn't scared.
I would do it now. If that's a problem, Quincy got up and made a gesture behind my back.
He went like this. He went like, you see,
and then nobody said nothing.
And they didn't say nothing.
They didn't say
He used threatening words out in the street. So I should be able to sit way over here by myself if she can change seats.
And he called Tanya B's and H's and everything, and she got to look at him.
You got a different treatment. The city charter, state law, federal law, it talks about no discrimination. Discrimination is defined under the law as different treatment for the same or similar behavior. Now, if you're treated differently for the same or similar behavior, you're discriminated against. For example, if you make national news calling the two black women ghetto and you don't get censored or nothing happened to you, that's a different treatment. When I say white folks, I'm getting censored, removed. It's a different treatment.
Right.
If I say point of order, point of information, and consistently, you're out of order. That's your first warning. And then them fools use point of information or point of order wrongfully and don't nothing say it. That's a different treatment. So you got blatant discrimination,
I've been seeing
different treatment for the same or similar behavior. That would be the same way in the mayor's office. If you got folks who refusing to come to meetings and do their job like Whittigan there, that's appalling. If you got people interfering with council elections illegally, if you got people interfering with mayoral elections illegally, Gleason and Neely there, and nothing happens, that's a different treatment. The minute that we do something, I done been in court. I got a court case coming up, a jury trial, December the 1st.
Okay.
Because I pleaded not guilty to disorderly conduct in a council meeting. If you recall, I told them, I'm not finna let y'all put me out my seat. And I made the police handcuff and arrest me because they had treated me differently when I had asked to be excused. Then I came back, Herkin Rhoda, I'm not gonna let you back in.
Yeah, they said they ain't gotta let you back in. You said, listen, the rules say if I ask to be excused, you have to let me.
You don't have to ask to get back in. If you see people get up and come back, they ain't asking to get in. The rules say you ask to be excused. So I ordered a jury trial. I'm gonna put each one of them on the stand. I'm out to prove that this, and that's December the.
Look at my calendar. Make sure I always forget that.
That's December the 1st. On November the 3rd, we in there on a pre-trial motion. But these charges should have been dropped. They gonna be embarrassed because normally in district court, people just plea bargain. But I'm asking for a jury trial. I wanna put every council person and anybody else in the administration, Attorney Kim, on the stand and prove to them under oath with the penalty of perjury that you treat me differently. Now they got a special prosecutor who's prosecuting this. And so I asked the judge, I say, who gonna sign the subpoenas? She said, I'll sign them for you. I'm subpoenaing Attorney Kim, every city council member, and I'm gonna prove something about the way they've been discriminating with these rules. We'll see. Guess who my attorney is?
Oh, you?
I am representing myself.
Someone told me yesterday, they said, y'all really don't know that much about Mays. Who was I talking to, Mickey? I know I had to be with you somewhere. And they said, do y'all know Mays is got like, he was like a paralegal? You got like.
I ain't gonna do like Neely. No, I wasn't no paralegal. My degree
is in political science.
It's in political science, pre-law.
But did you help,
University.
did you
I had
to work
passed
with
the
Ken
law
Scott?
school admission test. I was gonna be
I know he.
I did some research
he
for
won.
certain lawyers.
Yeah, he won. I have a question for you because, like I said, Mr. Mays, I've been watching you, and I like how you do the timeline. So I did my own timeline. So Quincy Murphy comes to the council meeting and he says, in the new charter, because I was on the charter commission and not.
They messed that charter up.
I know.
And they messed that charter up.
They sure did.
Wait, I know both of y'all about to be hot on this. And he said, with the clerks, we put a term limit on the clerk's job. And in January, here's a job description. You're going to have to apply for your own job. Well, Miss Inez said, well, who did you talk to? And they basically said, we talked to ourselves about your job. And she said, can't nobody explain my job. I mean, these weren't the words, but she's saying, can't nobody can't nobody tell you about my job better than me. 2 weeks later, she resigned. Now,
Could you trust him?
Hell no.
You couldn't trust Attorney Kim and Quincy Murphy.
No, not when Attorney Kim.
Particularly after you seen what they did with me for president of City Council. If I'm Inez, they couldn't mess up my career. They couldn't embarrass me.
She got the hell up out of there. But then watch this. The other day, and I'm sure you got it.
The ombudsman left.
The ombudsman left, but wait a minute. The other day, and I said on air something was wrong. City Council signed on the bottom by Dennis Pfeiffer and Ali Hinderoker called a special meeting for the day after the election.
Ain't that ridiculous?
To pick a city clerk.
The day after the election, that means Davina and the a deputy who's the interim clerk, they're gonna still be busy as bees. You shouldn't have called no special meeting. Now, think about it. During the budget process, Tanya Burns and others, we called a special meeting. They didn't show up. Hurricane Rhoda, Piper and them. Now, because of Quincy and Liddell, they done gave the white folks, and I ain't mad at white folks.
That's all you wanted to hear.
But they done gave the white folks the two leadership positions, Piper and
No
Hurricane Rhoda.
self-love.
And they ain't even been there a year to learn. And so now look what they done did. They done called a special meeting the day after the election to discuss the clerk. We could have that on a regular agenda. We got November and December. You don't have to call a special meeting the day after the election to discuss the clerk. Remember, they broke the quorum on the meeting with the ARPA funds.
Yep.
So you done had all this business. Now all of a sudden, you glad to go back home around your wives and family. Oh, I'm calling Smith. Oh, I'm in leadership of Flint. Oh, I'm running Flint. And here come, and so Quincy Murphy and Liddell done put them over us, playing council, having a ball. And here we sitting under their leadership.
Right.
Now, if me, Jerry, and Tanya didn't go to that special meeting, they still gonna have a quorum.
Yep.
They're gonna have Eva Worthy, Priestley, Hurricane Rhoda, Piper, and Quincy.
Right.
Now, somebody said, Mays, you better look at your history. You calling Quincy and Liddell Uncle Tom. The correct name for them is Sambo.
Right, because Uncle Tom helped the people.
Yeah, you
Uncle
got
Tom helped the people.
Sambos up here hurting the city, hurting the majority black city. So mad at themselves and at me and others. Sambos.
Right,
And here they done put folks in power, and they at home around their families and friends having a ball, and we sitting here in a certain situation.
Yep.
If we don't get rid of 3 or 4 of them people and change the complexity of that city council, we gonna be in trouble.
Now wait a minute, Mace. After that, I felt, in my own opinion, like they did Miss Inez, that's putting Davina in a bad place. Because she may be feeling, I think Davina qualified for the job. I like Davina. I think she may be like, oh Lord, this is my job. This her livelihood.
And they might put something on her.
And then
the president of the council in politics is what my livelihood was. Yes. I wanted people to be as sensitive to me as they was to Miss Inez Brown, Davina, and anybody else. Most times people think that I'm strong enough to carry the load. People should have been in an uproar when Attorney Kim and Quincy and white folks did that to me. It's unprecedented. Yeah. Now, I'm in the Court of Appeals. I've got to file a brief probably in the next 7 days. I done spent a lot of money filing this in the Court of Appeals. Who do you think my lawyer is?
You.
Me
because
again.
The city's not going to supply you.
And so I'm sensitive to all of this. But I'm saying to myself, we got to wake up. You know,
that's
wake
the kicker
up.
part. Here's
how
the
do
big
you wake
banger.
As many people up?
This is the big banger. After they did that special meeting, so I know you already heard what happened, what came out yesterday, right?
I don't know all of what come out.
Oh shit. What? I'm sorry.
No,
again.
I'm sorry. Tell them. I heard the video this morning.
Lay hands on the sister.
I heard her video this morning. I'm gonna let her tell you.
They sent out a letter, Mr. Mays, be calm, and said that they found something in the charter. They got the little charter rule up there that go to my Facebook page so we can read it for them. Said that now the mayor can't, whoever wins on that Tuesday, they can't take office
and they
until
can't
after
get sworn in until the governor is certified. That's the stupidest thing.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
That's the stupidest thing that folk put in the charter.
It wasn't never in there, was it?
It wasn't in there. Normally, the city council election ain't even on the same ballot with the governor.
Okay.
This is the first time that it's been on the same ballot. And so when the mayor's race and the city of Flint's race gets certified, that's when you should take office. It should have nothing to do with the governor's race.
Yeah.
If the governor's race take a week, 2-3 weeks
A
to
month,
get certified,
maybe?
yeah, you got people probably shredding documents, ain't moving out their office. That was the stupidest thing
But do you
that they
think
could
it
have
was?
put in that charter.
Do you think it was thought out? Like, who gonna say starting in 2022? It seemed a little fishy to me.
It was. The charter
Go
itself
ahead,
was
Mr.
fishy.
Audrey.
Now that charter itself was fishy. The way that they did it on purpose to try. It was to think about it. When that charter was drawn up, it was drawn up when Karen Weaver was in office, and a lot of things was directed because they felt like she was gonna win again in 2019.
And the same way with the Ethics and Accountability
Ability.
Board and
Yes,
the
yes,
ombudsperson, for
yeah.
example. They
Yep.
took that subpoena power and investigative arm away from the city council.
Yep.
The city council had 2 appointments, the ombudsperson and the city clerk.
Y'all used to.
They
Sure did.
screwed that up.
Yep.
Now, if you look at the council, we can do subpoenas and investigate, but you can't hardly to get them to meet on ARPA funds in the budget.
Right.
We used to could refer that to the ombudsperson, and the ombudsperson could do the thorough investigation while we were doing other things.
Right.
They screwed it up in a variety of ways. And so what we got to do now is go back and change that charter and fix.
I know you mad too. Come on in here. Come on.
What's up, Honorable?
Come
That's
on,
the
man.
real, that's
This
the
is
mayor.
Come on.
Look,
Come on in here, man.
look,
Come on.
She
please,
started off this morning talking stuff.
please.
Well, that's
she
because
did.
you
I'm
were
glad.
We're
around
not going to
us.
be here in your presence.
I'm gonna come right in the middle of all these.
It's okay. We have to put you to be here in our presence.
Hey,
I'm
tear
gonna
up
be
your
here
studio.
between
Man's breaking stuff down this morning. We need you in here. Deanna, get up.
Yeah,
Get
okay.
this chair, baby. You go get that folding chair.
Okay.
Get up, Deanna.
No,
Get up.
I'm
Get
gonna
up
be,
and get
I'm only
Mr.
gonna be
Mays that
here
chair.
Yeah, y'all finna
Just
go
a
out and
minute.
do
We
some
don't
work.
need you to sit
ready
on
to
the
go
ground.
out.
Skip the chair right there.
and do something.
Hey,
She
look,
can go get the fold chair.
when you hear, don't worry about me. Hey, look, y'all finna go out and do some work now. Y'all
That's
been
right.
working.
Here, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Get that chair. You ain't got
Yeah,
I
something.
hope people wake up.
I had to
Yeah,
just
we
tell
have
you,
some work to do.
my grandbabies this morning, I said, well, who y'all voting for? They said Karen Weaver for mayor. And then they kept talking to them. My granddaughter said, and I'm running for the first ward. I said, oh, you can't run
Can I
against
endorse her?
Councilman. You can't run
endorse
against
her.
Councilman Mays. She said, oh, well, which one of the
Yes,
wards can I run for?
I can endorse her. What's her name?
Her name is Amaria Irvin.
How old is she?
She 8 years old.
Oh, I
Did you
can endorse
hear
her.
the baby yesterday say, vote Karen Weaver. We want clean water.
That's right.
That's so cute. That was
That's
so
right.
cute. I said,
Man,
look at this
look.
little
Mayor,
girl.
Mayor,
Yeah.
how do you feel about that crap that just happened now night? These two fired up. They said that the mayor, you can't take office until after they certify, because you already won, and the Lord done told me, you can't take office until after.
Yes,
The
that's what-
governor-
that's what it
the
says.
governor
That's what the charter says.
Sit up there.
But it was never in there before. Look, he know it was nothing
Yeah,
against
man. I keep some young
on
ones
screen.
around me. I keep some young ones around
Put
me.
my camera on my baby.
Look at all these ladies, Councilman Mays.
My baby ain't in there. Put
Hey,
it
look, I got enough people to call a press conference and ask for Neely's resignation because him and Gleason cheated.
Well, we'll
3
be
years
right
ago.
there with you, sir.
You wouldn't have lost by no 200 had they not held that illegal press conference. I said it. Yeah, I said it. It was illegal. It was wrong. Gleason can't
He
even
done
run
got
for
turned
office.
now,
no more.
Jag. He turned now.
I mean,
Yes.
I hope people wake up.
Everybody that was involved in
It
it should
wasn't
be
never
charged.
in the charter before. And I wondered,
But you know,
is it
there was a new charter. That was
We
Right,
never
but-
used to have elections when the governor
right.
ran
This is the
before.
first time
so?
that has
Is
taken place.
this only for Flint, or did Detroit put it in their
Don't
charter
worry
too?
about Detroit. What you worry about is what some bad folks on the
You know
charter
what?
division
I'm good. You know what? Look,
And
this
they
is
have-
Mays
You
versus
all have
Hall.
just hijacked me from what I'm getting ready to go.
That's
Just-
okay.
Only for a minute.
Only
Only
for
for
a
a
second.
minute.
But I'm getting ready.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm excited. I'm
Yes,
excited.
for
That's
you.
how I feel. You know what? It's an opportunity. I'm excited about being able to help the people.
Go back to
Yes.
work.
Go back to
Do
work,
some
do
unfinished
something.
business.
Exactly. That
We
helps.
was
That
rolled.
helps.
November the 8th,
And that's what we're here for.
right, from today through November the 8th. Go vote.
Let me ask you
City,
this question.
City Hall is
At
open
City Hall.
today.
Have you
Yeah,
really
you
got a
already know.
degree?
Are you really
You know
a
what?
doctor?
No, that's
You
a
can
third
call.
one.
You can call Tougaloo College.
Tougaloo.
You can first. You can call U of M Flint.
Oh,
because
go
it's
blue.
started. You
Yep.
can call
Okay.
I'm
Tougaloo
waiting for
College.
one other one.
You can call Long Island University.
I'm still
and you
waiting.
can call Go Green.
Michigan State, the game today. What
Y'all
time do
lose
the game
today.
come on
7:30.
today? 7:30
Yeah,
tonight.
well, y'all gonna lose.
Okay,
Well,
you
I
know
don't know.
what?
I hope we
Let me
fool
say
y'all.
this
I
though.
hope we
But I did
fool
get
y'all.
I did get to have a picture with Mr. Big.
Oh, I
Yes.
seen
Oh,
that.
yeah.
What the hell
You
is
went to
going
the Isley
on
Brothers.
between the city and my home? Mayor, wait, you need to explain.
And she
Was you
walked
about
out
to
on
catch
you.
the blame? Sitting up there with Ron Isley. You made me mad sitting up there with
What's
Ron
that song?
Isley.
What's that song?
I
You
said,
should have sung.
where
You should
Dr.
have sung
Mr. Williams?
Beyonce's part. Make me say it again. Man, I stayed home last night. Was the concert good?
She didn't go to the concert.
Oh, to that thing.
Yeah, she
after.
just went to go see Ron Isley.
You didn't go to the concert?
No.
You want me to sing? Make me say.
Oh, baby, clap.
Listen. This school board election is coming up. It's a
It's
whole.
important.
Hey, Sister Audrey, how important is it?
It's very important. Y'all better know who around your children and who making decisions for your children. Make sure you get somebody in there who gonna take care and look for their best interests. We got too many
Who
issues
should
that's
we
going
vote
on. Vote for me, definitely.
Yeah.
Vote for Audrey Young. Don't put me on the spot.
Okay,
I definitely, we got a couple of good ones that's out there, but definitely I'm gonna say for me.
Okay,
Vote
I'm
for
gonna
me.
put you on the spot. Who should we vote for mayor?
Hey, we already know who to vote for Mayor Karen Weaver.
Who we vote for, Deanna?
Karen Weaver. Yes.
I told her I was gonna have. Ain't you the one I said I was gonna have on here with me? Did I keep my word? It is what it is. I don't be playing. I ain't no lying
I say
politics.
go read the records. Go read people's track records. See what they have done. You need to go and see their past actions, who they associating around with, who they affiliating around with, who they got running with them.
What about
Check and see.
truth, honesty,
Truth and
character?
honesty, character. It all adds up. Truth, honesty, and character for sure.
Well, y'all might not have known this, but when we was in office, we had some tough stuff to do.
Yes.
We had to fix a deficit budget.
Yes.
We had to get emergency managers out.
Yes.
We brought in the lawyers to try to settle the civil suit.
Yes.
And you ever heard of Todd Flood?
Yes.
He was the special prosecutor who had spent, I think, over 40 million and so many witnesses on the witness stand. They never should have dropped those criminal charges and started over.
So they
We
dropped
had-
Top Flood in everything.
Yeah, we had that good work. And so under the Weave administration, all of these people used to come in and out of City Hall. We had really did good work. In the last 3 years, we have not had
Where do people
type
go?
of activity.
Where that work go?
We haven't had that type of activity. This
Okay.
is a clear-cut thing, but I'm kind of nervous because with the half-truths and lies and the talking, I'm very concerned if the majority of the people, the average person, know what we know. And so that's why I come on these shows.
Right.
That's why I answer the call, because some way or another, you done had 2 close elections. One of them shouldn't have happened the way when she lost that seat, because that was an illegal press conference. The other one, I was in the primary. She had 4,000, Anita had 4,900. I had 1,100. And so I'm here now. I remember when Weaver, Wallen, and Mays ran. I came in third. And then I came out and helped push. I'm hoping it's deja vu.
Yes.
Yes,
You
sir.
had Neely,
Yes, sir.
Weaver, and Mays. I came in third. So I hope this is deja vu. I can't do it by myself. I
If you
can
were
try to throw
running,
my support, but everybody, if we can pull this off, it's gonna almost bring tears to my eyes.
I know.
I
That's
do
it.
not want to go through
I
another
know
three,
you don't.
4 years of what we just been through.
As residents, you and Sister Audrey, how do y'all feel knowing that Dane Walling is that your mayor is accepting that blood money for his campaign from Dane Walling?
Not only has he accepted money uh, from Dane Wally, you don't know all the money that you see and don't see.
Mm.
You don't even know the people who supporting him and not. If you look at this election, when it comes to black folks, when you got people like the people around Weaver, some people take offense to that. They figure we too black.
Mm.
And then when you look at Neely's campaign, when you look at the Herkenrollers and the Priestleys and the Vipers, regardless of whether they white or Republican affiliated, he kind of said once that he only need a certain percentage of black with the white folks. But now I know for a fact it's gonna be some white folks vote for Weaver.
That's
I
right.
mean, nobody gets all of the white folks, so it's gonna be white folks vote for Weaver, black folks, and in
That's what
each
he was
election,
banking on.
they've been real close.
Right.
So, I look at the people who support him. Now, who you think you'll vote for? Somebody who I support or somebody evil worthy supports? See what I'm saying?
No brainer.
You just gotta look at the people who are around certain folks.
And you said, y'all up here supporting y'all candidate and they trying to put it all on you. You said you was just in a commercial with him about one Flint. Do you know
Yeah,
the
but
very next day,
you seen
Liddell,
that?
I haven't seen the commercial. My mom has. But the very next day, Liddell Lewis went on Facebook and did some type of post and hashtag one Flint.
Yeah, well, they thought I was being funny.
You was being honest and
Yeah, I am being honest. They thought I was being funny when I say all them illegal yard signs, that stop signs in the public right of way. I say Neely and Kill D. And I'm saying I don't care if it's Kill D, Barack Obama, whatever in the city of Flint. You got to do the hard work.
That's
you got to
right.
knock doors and
That's
put
right.
them in people's yards. Now here you got the chief executive officer for the city of Flint allowing them signs to be all wrongfully, illegally placed
Because
in
they
the public
his.
right of way.
Right.
They his.
Over the last 20, 30 years when we did that, they would pick them up
Yes, they did.
and we'd have to go get them
But the city
behind
ain't doing
City
it this
Hall.
time.
No, they not
So
picking
I'm
his up.
seeing something different in this election. I don't care if it's Neely, Kill, D, or whatever. Though you know, if you run a campaign, I usually maybe get 1,000 yard signs. Do you know if I don't have to knock doors and ask to put them in people's yards, if I just stick them between the sidewalk and the street, I'd be done.
Right.
That ain't, it's illegal.
And
Yes,
it's
it
all you can. They all
across the
around
city.
Hurley. They all down ML King, Saginaw Street.
I'm seeing Young out there too. I'm like, that one that's running against QD.
Yeah.
His signs right next to him. They all in everywhere. In our neighborhood, I ain't never seen them.
But you see where I found that Weaver sign folded up behind that Consumer Powers box the other day.
And I've
That's
never
so
messed with
disgusting.
anybody's yard sign.
That's illegal. It's illegal.
I had some of my yard signs taken up and thrown in the middle of the street. We had just put them out that night. Came back early that morning to take my grandchildren to school, and they was out in the middle of the street.
But at least I'm gonna talk about it because the average citizen don't know
Yes.
that it's illegal
And
for
we
the
got
chief
them on
officer
tape doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Kill D, even though he's a congressman, it's illegal.
Yeah.
So I don't care who it is. If you're gonna be a lawmaker or a person enforcing the law, what and you can kind of compare it to people call me Councilman May. They just towed my car off the empty lot next to my house.
Yep.
If you gonna tow people's cars and enforce ordinances just because you in an election, you shouldn't be able to break the law and
Right.
them signs sit there. We call street maintenance and building inspection, and we say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
y'all supposed to be picking these up
Yeah.
just like you normally do, putting them behind City Hall.
Mhm.
But the election is here.
Yep.
I don't think a sign vote.
Nope,
People
signs
vote.
can't vote.
So
That's
if
it.
the signs be there from now to the election, it's been reported, but I don't think them signs can vote. People vote. The real work is to knock doors, put them in people's yards, and don't just stick them all around town. I remember when I first ran for council, it was a guy had more signs, scared the hell out of me. His name was Leon L. Alameen. And he had signs sticking like that everywhere. I didn't even really have none. And so I won that by 6 votes. But I'm telling you, yeah, he didn't make it through the primary. Anita Brown and I did. And I won my first election by 6 votes. After I did work, then I ended up beating the same person, Anita Brown, by 600-800.
You got the most votes out of all the councils.
Out of all the council. But the thing is, them signs, some people believe that they vote. We learned early in our political career, signs don't vote, people do.
Well, are you gonna be able to work after the recalls with the new second ward councilwoman Audrey Young?
But we're gonna see who all sign up
Right.
in these recall elections. I'm pretty confident that after November, it'll be some city council recall elections. Some of these folks don't need to be down there
So
for 3-4 more years.
now I got a question because they got to have a deputy person in there in place of Gleason. Because remember, when we filed that recall paperwork, first it was filed on Maurice Davis when he was in support of Karen Weaver, and they pulled it and they made sure that it passed through. Once we did it again, the same exact language, and he was in support of Mayor Neely, they rejected it. Deb Cherry, Barkey, and Gleason. Those 3. So you gotta pass by them 3.
Not Gleason.
But not Gleason.
Gleason gone.
So Gleason is gone, but we gotta get them passed
He
through
was
some of them.
crooked as they come.
Right, exactly. And it was like crazy because it was the same exact paperwork. The same people passed it the first time around because he was siding with Karen and they didn't want her with Mayor Weaver. They didn't want him with her. But when he started siding and flipped the script and was with Neely, they rejected it.
If you get in the mayor's seat, some of them white folks, sheriff, prosecutor, they gonna kiss your butt. Whoever in that mayor's seat, they think they control the majority of the blacks.
Right.
And so that's what happened to me and others with the Murdoch thing.
Right.
It's dead wrong.
Yes.
People should be
Y'all remember that when
what's
y'all vote
right,
for them
what's
judges
right. I'm
and the
looking
people.
at a couple of the preachers.
Yes.
For example, Chris Martin. Chris Martin was all weaver. Soon as somebody else get in the seat, they switch.
When he needed somebody, he needed that water discount.
Yeah, so I ain't like that. I'm a certain type of person. I mean, I know right from wrong, good from bad, mediocre and mediocre. And so I really want what I think is best.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna stick with that.
Yes.
And I'm sticking with it, and ain't nobody gonna change it. If I think somebody is mediocre and I think somebody is better, I'm gonna say it. If I think somebody is a little sneaky, I'm gonna say it.
Right.
Now, I'm not Jesus. I'm not walking on water. I'm not perfect. But I was at council meeting the other day, and I said people ought to be honest and tell the truth. And I heard Paul back in the media room start laughing out loud because I think they would kneel. And
because when you get to talking, you was talking the other day, he cut you off.
Yeah, and then
He did.
Oh, don't do that.
He did. He cut him off.
And Herkin wrote it in. So I say these people is a little crazy because I'm seeing how they treat and talk toward me, but don't want nobody to say nothing
to them.
toward them.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing repeatedly how Liddell Lewis, the one who making the commercials, you
Yeah.
know who she with, how she be steady trying to spend all her time talking about, warn him, throw him out,
Yeah.
warn him, throw him out. But then, in a hypocritical way, she be saying stuff like, we don't need to talk about each other. We need to concentrate on the business.
Right.
I
She
said,
can
now
be
that's
the,
That's
yeah.
contradictory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wake up, everybody. What
Yeah.
have Melvin in the Blue Note say? Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more backwards thinking. Time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be.
There's so much hatred,
War and poverty. The world won't get no better. Who got to change it?
We gotta
We gotta
world.
change it.
Just me and you. Oh, y'all didn't know I could sing, girl. You didn't know I could sing. Did you?
Look at it.
You still don't know it now.
Listen,
Wake
y'all.
up. Y'all go to
Listen.
work. We got a week left.
1 week.
The
We-
votes
tell a
that's left
friend.
out there could change the election.
Tell a friend, get a sign in your yard.
Don't put it on the curb.
Just put it in your yard.
You can't put it by the stop sign. Why? It's illegal.
That's illegal. Y'all go move y'all signs.
Ain't nobody gonna move.
Ain't gonna move.
They ain't gonna move.
They-
They
so what
gonna be
So,
steady.
what if we did a citizen arrest? Now I'm being silly. You know how you do a citizen arrest?
Yeah.
You just go and take the signs because you know they ain't legally up.
Right.
They gonna have a picture. You like to talk about.
And we just take them. We're gonna put them behind City Hall.
Remember, your mayor nearly said the water is good. Look at Sister Audrey's water filter. If y'all just now tuning in, it's supposed to be white, this color,
That was the color it was when it got put in there.
and this is the color of it now. Of course, filters bring out impurities, but our water is clean. It shouldn't have this many impurities in it.
What your name say on the ballot? It don't say
It
Sister
say-
Audrey.
They say Audrey Young on the ballot.
Audrey Young, 6-year term for the Flint Board of Education.
That's
You
right.
need somebody in there that cares about these children. If not, it's not gonna. If they don't get people in here this time to care about these children, it won't be a Flint school system within the
It will
next
not
3
be.
years.
People pulling them out.
I said 5 just to be generous.
And so, how many people have we got to convince?
She said you can find Mother
really
Jones
knowing
on your
what they
local
talking about.
publicity commercials.
Think back. Think back.
We
Now,
got nothing.
when did
Mhm.
think back?
Think what, which one?
3 years ago, we couldn't have told you that.
Could have told me nothing
Why?
because I
You
believed
didn't believe me?
I didn't believe you. I believed everything Neely said, and
Why?
because
You knew him?
I knew him when he was 6th Ward councilman. I
I knew
hadn't
him
talked
when
to
he was
him,
6th Ward council.
but I've
And he
still
live in the second ward now.
no. He in the
So
5th
they done
Ward now.
switched
Is it the fifth
boundaries
ward?
around.
5th Ward.
It's the fifth
He
ward.
let-
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he cut himself. He way they cut it. He cut himself down in the 5th Ward, and then El Dorado over there where my mom and them stay got all them speed humps.
That's
They in the
second.
2nd
I
Ward now,
knew, I
but
knew.
they didn't know.
I knew him when he was 6th Ward council.
But I still
And I
think he
remember
was-
going over there helping when he was getting elected. But now check this
He
out.
changed.
He said,
You know what? He didn't
He's-
change because it was always
no, he
in
didn't, because he said he done introduced more
ordinance.
ordinances
Yes, he
than
did.
any
He said, "Go
council
look on the
person in
books."
the history of the city of
Yes,
Flint.
he did.
That ain't true. Why would he? That when you heard that, you used to believe that?
Yep.
It ain't true.
Well, I remember going to Lansing and he was a state representative, and I have to say this: we had took a busload of people up there. He promised Art Woodson that we would all be able to get in, and that he would present something that Art had given to him. And when we got up there with the busload, he said, "We ain't gonna do that today." It was a busload of us.
He lied to the chip.
It was a
Babe,
busload of us up there. I'm
Didn't he
not gonna.
promise you them hot chips and
What's
stuff
up,
at that
Kimbo?
Halloween
I
party?
promise you
Look,
that.
my baby want
I'm
to tell
not
me how
saying
he
that
done
to try
lied
to
to
beat
her.
up
What
on
he
her,
lied
but
to
I'm
you
telling you the
about,
truth.
baby? What he say to you?
He put toothbrushes in my candy bag.
Yeah. And he said he was gonna have what? For Halloween, he was gonna have you hot chips and hot dogs, didn't he? Yeah.
Toothbrush.
He lied to the children.
But yeah, I do
Toothbrush ain't
remember that.
bad.
You don't want no toothbrush on Halloween. You want some candy.
Where you get the toothbrushes from?
She got the two. He was
From
handing.
where? Oh, I know it. I know about them toothbrushes. But now check this out.
I'm sorry.
All I'm saying is that I know for a fact that this guy ain't introduced more ordinances than any council person in I know when Del Rico, Lloyd, and Jackie and them was on there, how they used to do and how he used to do. He used to have a problem with them
Yes.
because what he say out of his mouth.
Right.
I remember when Bernard Lawler ran with him and he thought he was going to be the president of the council. Listened to Neely and had his people there dressed nice and whatever, and that was embarrassing.
I thought I was going to be the chief liaison between the hospitals.
Oh, you did? That what you had been promised?
Yeah, he told me it was grant money left from the Nestle.
So when
grant.
he won, you was gonna be the chief.
I was gonna be the
liaison.
chief.
She fell for that line.
I did. Yeah. Hey, he told Danielle
I'm like-
she was gonna be the liaison between the Flint schools
Yeah,
and the
Boy, did
city.
he lie to him good.
Oh, I was so excited.
Yep, I know, because I
I said-
remember you
Okay,
said,
but-
I
Yeah,
remember your post.
You got it too.
Yeah, I remember your post. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
vengeance says the Lord, didn't he? He went vengeance on y'all.
Okay, did he explain why that didn't happen?
I don't know. He didn't tell me that.
Y'all was excited. Y'all was
Well, I seen an advertisement this here, yesterday, or day before yesterday, talking about people that's interested in some board appointee positions open by one of the city council.
Second ward.
So
Yeah,
you gotta be very careful when you make promises and
Yeah.
tell people stuff because you shouldn't really get out there and do that. Them board appointees, if it's what I'm thinking, that's dealing with the ARPA money. They wanna set the community foundation and the Root My Foundation up to make appointments of 7 to 11 member board in order to recommend the spending of the ARPA money. But when you recommending the spending of city money in the charter, in my opinion, that's called a multi-member body. And you can't have the community foundation and Root My appointing people to that. The city council is the appointing authority. It's just like the block grant money. ARPA fund is grant money.
Right.
The citywide advisory council appointed by the council works with the block grant money.
Right.
I'm
You
talking
already
to
got a
people who will
committee,
be
right?
appalled if they try to move forward with the community foundation and Root My appointing people to spend this money.
I told them people that money was gonna leave out from downtown.
Well, it can. We can get that money into people's hands if they vote right.
If they get
You gotta
Weaver in there,
clean Neely them out
yeah,
and put Weaver and them back in.
Mr.
And
Mays,
that'll
the
be the
people in that
first step.
stack, they deserve that.
Good people in that stack of applications,
Yeah.
and they deserve it. They've been waiting on it, and they the margin of victory,
And some people just want a hot water heater.
and they
Just love
deserve
it.
it.
And they deserve
They
it.
deserve it. If those people are voters and any of them listening, they could be the margin of victory in this race. You can vote your pocketbook in this race. If we done sat on that money for over a year, and if I'm gonna talk to Weaver and we say we gonna disperse that money, vote your pocketbook.
Right.
Don't vote for the same thing and get nothing. What you thought you was gonna be?
The liaison between. Y'all laughing, man. I was really excited about my little job, man. I was gonna be the chief liaison between the hospital and the city.
Who made that term up?
That's what Neil said. I was gonna be the
Man, he
liaison.
created, they say he got good words, so
Yeah, but
I told him you can
I
go on
was
the
gonna-
corner. and-
Yeah, I was gonna be.
I can't believe it. Word salad.
Working on the maternal infant deaths in Genesee County since the war.
Yeah.
I had even called the lady over
gonna
the
say-
children's center at Hurley and told her I wanna.
He had
They
you
gonna
call.
say-
He really made a fool of you.
They
He
gonna,
made a damn fool
but
of me.
they gonna say the reason that you ain't supporting it not cause you mad, cause you
Yep.
ain't the chief liaison.
Oh, what I'm saying? They didn't call me wrong.
Hey, how much is that job gonna pay?
Huh?
How much is that job? Cause I got oceanfront property right out in Beach. I'm selling. I'm just saying.
Hey, look, no, hey,
You
Mickey,
glad my first lady
Mickey,
watching?
Mickey, I'm already in office. I can make her the chief liaison officer of the first ward, answering to the constituents at the top highest level of the first ward. They can be- somewhere to make you the chief liaison officer for the first ward.
I can't stand you.
my
Man, we getting out of here today. We getting out of here today.
Hey, I'm trying to get rid of this 10-bedroom oceanfront property on the
Shut
beach.
up.
You
Y'all
listen.
tell her to back it up, Bree.
Right, you can manage it, Wyntis.
Shut up.
You can
shut
manage.
up.
I'm finna end it.